Sand whoops, high speed, and heat are three things that you're going to have to tackle at deep well. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to prepare for those three things so they don't catch you out in January. First thing for tackling high speed sand whoops is you need to be able to have the endurance to be able to stand up for a full 40 minutes and be able to recover from tougher sections of the track. So best way to be able to do that is to build up your cardio and build up your conditioning. You can use things like a rowing machine, you can use an exercise bike, a cycling bike, a treadmill. You can even go to the swimming pool if you really wanted to. But ultimately, what we want to do is we want to get your body really, really good at working hard for short periods of time, followed by a little bit of rest, followed by going hard again. So if you're going to use a rowing machine, you can set it up on the monitor where you do a minute intervals. You do a minute really, really hard, flat out on the rower, followed by a minute rest. Reason we want to do this, and the reason it's going to help with your endurance, is when you're riding and when you're racing at deep well, there's going to be parts of the track that are very physically demanding and require a lot of effort, and there's going to be some parts of the track where you get a bit of a rest. So what we're trying to do as best we can is we're trying to mimic those intervals, those changes in intensity on the bike and on the track with what we're doing for our rowing or what we're doing for our cardio work. Second thing that we want to work on is we talked about what was the second thing? We talked about speed, okay, high speeds. So speeds are going to be over, or sections up to or over 140 kilometers an hour, which is very, very quick on a bike, especially when you're going through the desert or you're going through rougher sections. So to be able to deal with those types of speeds and be able to keep yourself safe, you need to be able to get yourself stronger. So that's where like some weight training comes in. The reason that you want to get yourself stronger, the stronger you can get yourself, the lighter the bike will feel. If you can get the bike to feel lighter, you're going to use a lot less energy on the bike wrestling it around on the whoops, and you're also going to keep yourself safer. Reason you're going to keep yourself safer is because when you're going so fast, the bike is a little mistake or a little rock or a little section or a little kick out is going to happen like that. So if you can get yourself stronger and the bike does get out of control, you've got a lot more strength to be able to pull it in when you've got a bike which weighs 100 kilos trying to go in one direction and we're trying to pull it in the other direction. So how do you do that? A good starting point. Use a weight bar, get a squat rack, get some weight plates to be able to go on there and start doing some weight training. So an exercise that you can start with, I'll just put you guys down over here and we'll flick this back a little bit. So a good exercise to start with, you can start with an exercise like a back squat. So a back squat's where we got the bar on our back, okay? We stand with our feet underneath our, or about shoulder width or hip width. We want to push our ass back and then bend with the knees, okay? And then up we go. Push, ass back, bend with the knees. Ass back, bend with the knees. The other movement that we can also use is we can use a deadlift. So we can start from the floor, from mid-shin, and we work up to a standing position. So to start off with, you can start with, say, 3 sets of 10, and then each week you can slowly crank the weight up and get yourself stronger. But again, as you get yourself stronger, we're going to get the bike to feel lighter ultimately, which is what we want. Third thing that we've got to work on, or that we need to think about, is the heat. Some years it's been like, especially in the afternoon, it's been like 45 degrees plus out there, which is a reasonable amount of heat to deal with, especially with all your gear on, especially on a tough track. So one of the things that is common is cramping and also dehydration. So we want to stop that stuff or put things in place now to prevent them from being a problem. What can we do there? A couple of things that you can do. One thing that you can do, add carbohydrates or add electrolytes to your mixture that you're having between races. So the race format is you're doing 3 40-minute races. Between those races, work on getting in some electrolytes and getting in some carbs. You can use a Powerade or a Gatorade, okay, between each race. You could use a carbohydrate drink, and that will give you a starting point. That's the first thing. If you struggle with cramping, if you're someone who sweats a lot, if you find that you're a very salty sweater, okay, like it feels like you've got sand on your body every time you sweat, it's probably because you're losing a lot of salt and a lot of sodium. The problem for a lot of riders is when they lose a lot of salt and sodium, they don't replace it. Because they don't replace it and they just put more water in, then the water actually doesn't stay in their body. So that's why it's possible to still get dehydrated and to still run into problems with fatigue and concentration and having headaches, even if you are getting the water in, because it's not about the water, okay? The water's part of the equation. We want to make sure we're holding on to the water. So the other thing that you can do is you can also add salt or sodium to your mixture. So you can start off with, say, like 1/3 of a teaspoon for every litre of water. And you can even do that leading up to the race as well. So this is going to make sure that your sodium's topped up And that's going to make sure on race day that we are topping up anything that's been lost as well. But depends on how much you sweat and how much you're losing. So start off with the Gatorade first. If that's not, you've tested that out on practice days and that's not enough and you're still cramping, still dehydrating, then you can start to ramp it up a little bit. So ultimately, they're the three things we got. We want to build our endurance, okay, build our cardio for the whoops. We want to be able to get stronger, okay, so that we can ride at a high speed for a longer period of time and be able to maintain our skill level and our technique. And then the third thing is we just want to be ready for the heat. Okay, heat's probably the biggest one. It's probably the biggest killer that's going to affect how you ride and how you perform. So you want to make sure you get on top of that one. If you'd like some help getting race fit going into deep well and you want everything mapped out for you, you can apply for my Faster Laps program below. Otherwise, hopefully you enjoyed this video.